This is Off the Ice, the Nanaimo Clippers hockey show on 106.9 The Wolf. With the latest news on the Clippers and the BCHL, here's Dan Marshall.
This is Off the Ice, the Clippers hockey show. And the Nanaimo Clippers red hot right now, 3 consecutive wins, and they're heading off to Chilliwack. Not to play the Chiefs, but for the BC Hockey League Showcase. They've got the Vernon Vipers on Friday at 1 o'clock and the Salmon Arm Silverbacks Saturday. Oh, bright and early in the morning, a 10 o'clock game for the Nanaimo Clippers. So early wake-up call for Saturday for sure against Salmon Arm. Lots to talk about on our show tonight. You'll hear from former Nanaimo Clipper Devin Brasso, last year's team captain now at Clarkson University. Also, we'll chat with Graham Turnbull, the play-by-play voice of the Vernon Vipers, Nanaimo's next opponent. You'll hear from a couple of new Nanaimo Clippers in Ben Solin and Jake Harris. And right off the top, we'll have the head coach and general manager Mike Vandekamp. But just before we get there, we didn't have it last week, but the very first hockey trivia of the year. You can go to the Wolf Facebook page. You can check us out on @1069 The Wolf on Twitter as well. We want to give you a pair of tickets to any Nanaimo Clipper home game, and Joe D is the trivia diva. Joe, what's our question?
You said diva because I asked for water. Austin Roden has appeared in all 4 games for Nanaimo this season. How many goals has he given up? Is it 4, 6, or 8?
One of those 3 is correct. He's been very stingy, I'll tell you that much, in the Clipper crease to start the year. Let's talk to the head coach and general manager, Mike Vandekamp, right off the top. And, Coach, I've kept on coming back to this word over the past few days, thinking about your team. Consistency. I think work ethic has been very consistent for all 4 games. There was maybe that 7-minute lull in game 1 of the season, but is that the first area of a team's game where consistency can be found in work ethic? Does that come before execution and other things?
Absolutely. I think you look to areas that you can control. There's a lot of things you can't control, so your focus is on the things you can. And I think work ethic is completely in our control. It hasn't been all there yet. We've got a ways to come. I thought there was times in the last game that we got outworked at times too, and we've got to maintain that that's at the top of the heap here, because the execution side is going to take time to develop. It's practice, it's video, it's meetings, it's experience, and eventually guys get comfortable either with chemistry-wise with their line mates and teammates, or comfortable within the systems and structure that we're trying to play from a team game standpoint, and their habits get better as you go along. But the one thing that you can control is how hard you're going to battle, how hard you're going to work. And I've liked what I've seen so far with that, and it's the biggest reason why we've been able to win games so far.
I felt after the preseason and after watching the first game of the regular season that patience was going to be necessary when it came to the team defensively. And after that 7.5-minute span in game 1, since then your team has really been on lockdown mode, and you're averaging just 2 goals against per game. And in the early season, I think that's even more impressive than it would be later on once you really have your systems played down. Any surprise from you that defensively you've been this good so soon?
Well, I suppose maybe a little bit, but we've focused on it. It's been the number one thing we've been discussing is our defensive play, our own zone, our system when we don't have the puck, and how we want to play. And I think we've got some smart players on our team. I think guys have shown an ability to learn and improve in that area, fairly quickly. We've asked our guys, obviously, to focus on just seeing week-by-week improvements. Every weekend we want to be a little bit more solid team, and the attitude's been really good. Guys are excited to learn and buy into that, and I can already sense that there's a strong desire to win in our group, and I think the realization that we're only going to be able to do that if we're good defensively is definitely there. So, the buy-in's there, but we still have a lot to learn. We don't get too far ahead of ourselves here. We've only played 4 games. So, I would expect as the year goes along that we're going to get better and better defensively and more solid as a team as we go along.
Spencer Houston, I thought, was very impactful coming back to the lineup. But in talking to him after the game on Saturday, and as you start preparations for this week, is he going to be behind just because of all the time that he missed? And is this going to be a very critical couple of weeks for him to try and get up to the game speed and game tempo and game conditioning that other guys are a few weeks ahead of him with?
Well, I think initially you'll see that, and I could see that a little bit in his game this weekend, but I think he'll catch up quick. So I don't think he'll be behind for the rest of the way. You know what I mean? he'll be behind a little bit early, but he's a smart player, and I think he's a very effective player because I think it's more his mind than anything to start with, and his mind is sharp as ever out there on the ice, and maybe your timing's a little bit off, and certainly your conditioning is going to be a little bit off, but those are things you can catch up on, and his mind is always sharp, and he's in the game, and he's focused, so I think he'll catch up really quickly.
I know you keep track of this, and I asked Dustin Donahue right after the game on Saturday, and he didn't have the final number yet, but we both agreed your face-off percentage in that game Saturday had to be massive, certainly in crunch time, as they were trying to call a timeout, as they were trying to pull their goaltender. You kept winning all the important draws, I think actually without fail in those final minutes. But just how good was your face-off percentage this weekend? Because it seemed awfully high.
Well, we use a kind of a goal of trying to be 60% or better in a game, and that was the first game that we were able to accomplish that. So I can't remember the exact number, but it was our best game. And that's an area, for example, that for a lot of players, I don't know if it's been discussed that much in other places where they've been, and I'm sure it has to some degree, but here it's like a really, really important thing, and it's something that we're always talking about. Not only just the physical aspect of winning the draw, but having an understanding of where we need to go if we win a face-off, where we need to go if we lose a face-off in all three zones, plus in special teams, both on the power play and the penalty kill. There's a plan off of every one of those plays, and for some players, I'm sure it hasn't been detailed out as much as it is here, or maybe held as a high importance as it is here. So it's taken us some time to see improvement in that area, but again, that's all we can ask is to see improvement, and we've been seeing it. It started where we were barely 50% and battling away at it, and now we showed major improvement, and I'm happy you recognize it because it's a big reason why we're able to hold on and win a close game like that in the third period.
You get the team on the road for a few days for the first time. And again, we keep referencing this because it's early in the season, but it's a bunch of new guys together. Why is that important? Because all coaches talk about it. I talked to folks from Salmon Arm and Vernon kind of starting to get ready for this weekend today, and they were talking about it too. The joy, the importance of getting a team on the road in the early season. But just from a coaching standpoint, why is that so important?
It's time spent together as a group. The guys, we're together in the gym in the mornings, and that's a bit more work. It's not social, really. And then you're together at practice, and again, that's mostly work. And then guys have to disperse. Everybody's got to be home on time for supper and different things like that. So you're not spending maybe as much quality time, and it's pretty small quarters, right? I mean, you're all on the same bus. You're all eating in the same restaurants and spending that extra time together in the hotel, et cetera. And I think that stuff is it's really priceless. It's very important from a team building standpoint, and you just don't get that at home as much, no matter how hard you try, I think. And there's also just some of the fun camaraderie that comes with that, and there's some challenges even just to playing on the road and being in a different rink. And obviously this weekend's a bit of a different scenario, and both of the teams are going to be playing in a neutral site type of game with all of those pressures and things that come with the showcase. But just getting out on the road together will be a good step for our team, and especially this year again with and we keep talking about this, but just a lot of new people on the team, and it's going to be the first time that we've went out and on the road together, and they're going to be learning again a whole other thing about how we do road trips, what's important to us when we're on the road, how our itineraries are going to work, and everything that we do, and it's all going to be new to our team. So it's fun to see all this new stuff happening every weekend.
You're going to have scouts there watching your players. Everybody's aware that that's an element to the showcase weekend. Do you try and insulate the players a little bit from that? Obviously, there's guys from schools that are going to want to talk to certain guys, but that can, I think, become a little bit of a circus. Do you try and insulate the guys as much as you can from the fact that there's so many eyes on them?
That's a tough one because it's the purpose of the weekend. For the players, obviously. So you just, as a coach, I suppose you just got to accept that for what it is. That's why the players, come to play in our league. They want to get exposure to, in most cases, the NCAA or pro hockey and advance in the game. And this is why we have this weekend, is for them to get obviously a lot of that type of attention. So you got to allow for that opportunity to happen for the players, but I guess I thought about this today, actually, because knowing that it would probably come up in our discussion tonight on the show, I thought, how do I word this properly, my thoughts on it? Because, I suppose my Nanaimo Clippers hat says, all the things I just said, right? I mean, it's about the players and all that. And then my own personal side, I don't like it at all, right? I like playing the winning hockey games, and for me, it's really about the winning aspect of things, and it's a very distracting weekend, and it's not exactly the perfect environment for having a team be prepared to go out and win a hockey game, and the 2 points matter both on Friday and on Saturday, and the time of game is ugly as it can get. I mean, we have to play a game at 10 o'clock in the morning, so not sure the last time I was part of a game that mattered at 10 a.m. It's going to be different too. So it's not ideal, but it is what it is. It's there for the players. It's their opportunity, and we try to make sure we stay on the best possible routine that we can, but at the same time, not losing sight of the fact that it is really their weekend to get that exposure and then hopefully get some future opportunities and doors open for them.
One other thing I wanted to touch on before I let you go is the World Cup of Hockey. And I have to admit, I'm having a hard time buying in. I had the game on in the background just before we started our show tonight, but I'm having a hard time getting the buy-in. And for me, it really starts with two teams that are in a tournament that's called a World Cup that aren't actually countries. There's a Team Europe and a Team North America. So I'm having a hard time with it. Just as a hockey fan, which I know you are, have you bought in? Are you excited about this? Or are you still having a hard time?
Oh, I'm with you on it. I'm having a really hard time with it. I actually didn't. I never liked the preliminary games anyways to any of these tournaments. I don't understand really what the point is. And so I didn't really watch those. I've kept an eye on the Team Canada game from the other day, even though we had our own game going on. And then, of course, they were winning quite handily, so it didn't really have a lot of excitement to it from that standpoint. I've thought about it actually a lot today. Again, I was watching some sports on television this morning, and they were talking about it, obviously, and I don't understand how we can get into a Canada versus North America game, for example, if that's where the final was to go. Or, it seems like these international tournaments were always about really playing for your country, and that's where people get so excited about it is, you're cheering for your own nation, and we're all proud Canadian hockey fans, and yet you've got Canadians on different teams. And I think I looked at one of the benches today, and I saw the Canadian coach on the Europe bench, so I couldn't figure that one out either. So I'm not sure how that all kind of goes. But so it is a difficult one to wrap your head around. Yet at the same time, very important, I think, to mention that I'm 100% convinced that the players will play their hearts out. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of competitiveness that exists in those types of players at that highest of levels that they're at, that once the game starts, they're going to play hard no matter what, and the games are going to be excellent. It's just from a fan standpoint, what are you really kind of pulling for? And I heard something today where they said, if Canada wasn't to win this, would anybody really question that we're not still great players and a great team? And probably not, really, right? So it's a tough one. I'm not sure where it's really going to head long term, but I'm still a bigger fan maybe of the Olympics or something like that, where you're really representing your country.
We'll have to revisit this the Monday after the gold medal game is played and see where both of us lie on that, because I think we're both in the same boat right now. Coach, thanks so much for this, and looking forward to the showcase this weekend.
Yeah, me as well. See you on the road, Dan.
That is head coach and general manager of the Clippers, Mike Vandekamp. When we come back, we're going to have a couple of Clipper forwards join us, Ben Solin and Jake Harris on Off the Ice. This is Off the Ice, the Clippers hockey show. We've got Jake Harris and Ben Solin here to join me for this segment. We are going to find out a bit about them, new Nanaimo Clippers, and we're also going to play a game. It's going to be World Cup of Hockey trivia on this day that there's one World Cup game ongoing right now. And Team Russia still up on Team North America, but it's a tight one in the third period of that one. And the prize pack today is going to be a Rockstar prize pack. And you're going to have to pose with the prize items at the end if you're the winner. So I don't know if that makes you want to win or lose, but just the same, the prize pack is going to be handed out. But we'll start talking some hockey, and let's go to the Ontario guy first and talk to Jake Harris. Jake, tell us about your hockey career, some of the things you've done, and some of the places that you played hockey so far.
Yeah, so I grew up playing for the Marlies my whole career, the Toronto Marlies in Ontario, so that was great. I was lucky enough to have Paul Coffey as my coach. all the way through. So he taught us a lot, and he was a great guy. I was able to represent Canada in the under 18 Maccabia games in Israel, which was an awesome experience. We actually won gold against the U.S. So yeah, pretty exciting. And yeah, I mean, I've been able to come out to BC, which is awesome. Luckily, Will Riley, a former player on the team, put me in touch with the team, so that was great, and it's been awesome so far. I'm very excited.
Ben, what about you? Some of the places you played and some of the things that you've done in hockey.
So when I was younger, I grew up playing Tier 2 hockey in the States. Just a couple teams, Southern Stars, the Capitals there too. We ended up going to Nationals. I've been to Nationals twice. That was a really great experience. And then I played 3 years for my public high school in my town, Daniel Hand. And my junior year, actually, before I went off to prep school, we won the Division II state championship, so that was definitely a highlight. And then I was at Phillips Exeter Academy for 2 years. And now I'm out here. So, yeah, not too much international experience, but this year's a first for me. And I'm, it's been really great out here so far, so.
Ben, we'll stick with you and maybe elaborate on that. Tell me about your experience so far with the Clippers and the hockey here in Nanaimo, but also the city that you've had a chance to enjoy here for the past few weeks.
Oh, yeah, the city's unbelievable. Even with my dad, when we came over on the ferry the first night out here, we didn't go inside once. We were outside. It was a little bit windy, but, the views were definitely worth it. And we were out here for a week before training camp, and there was just a different spot to go every night, just a different place, like Neck Point or different places out here. And the nature is just unbelievable. It's a great place to live. Hockey-wise, it's definitely a step up from where I was at last year, but the transition's been pretty well, and the coaches and a lot of the players have really helped out with that. So I hope I definitely keep improving as the year goes on, but transition's definitely been good so far.
And Jake, what about you? The hockey here in the BCHL in Nanaimo and also the city from your perspective?
Yeah, so I played in the OJHL, so the Ontario equivalent of the BCHL last year, past 2 years. So, I mean, it's the eye-opening experience, just how the community, comes to every game, the fans, how intense the games are, how strong the competition is. So that was very eye-opening, and, it's such a strong league, and it's such an honor to play in it. And, yeah, I mean, the city of Nanaimo is great. I mean, me and my mom came down on the Friday, and training camp was on Monday, and we loved it. We took a little plane, and we flew around the island. I'm a big sushi guy, so, some of the best sushi I've ever had has been here. So, I don't really want to leave, and it's been awesome. Yeah, I'm loving it here. I've heard that it's much nicer than the Toronto winters, so I'm looking forward to that. So
the winters are very mild.
Yeah.
Very, very mild.
Yeah.
We might see snow, but we might not. That's the way Nanaimo is. I want you guys to play coach for me a little bit. And Ben, I'm going to give you a first shot at the Alberni game, and then Jake will give you a shot at the Surrey game. But Ben, break down for me the Alberni Valley game on Friday night on the road, the first road game and the first road win.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a really great win. Even watching the video, there was a lot of really good things that we did as a team. Definitely improved from the weekend before. I know it was a big thing going into the game. We didn't want to hear that horn after the national anthem anymore. It's really loud and definitely rings in the ears. But I think we did a really good job defensively. Not giving up any goals. That's a credit to Roden. And, our defense as well. But, definitely grinding away. A 3-0 win's a great win, especially on a home opener for them. So I thought we played really well, honestly.
Jake, when you look back at the Saturday game against the Surrey Eagles, what were your thoughts on that contest?
Yeah, I mean, they came out very hungry, and they were fast, and it was a little bit shocking for us. I think we were a little bit, lackadaisical at times. So, but we weathered their storm kind of at the beginning of the game, and we got a lucky couple bounces, and luckily came out with the lead after the first period, so that was big for us in the room and just, gathering around each other. And I thought we played a great team game, a lot of block shots, a lot of finish checks, a lot of little things that was able for us to get the win. Sometimes you have to have games like that where it just, things seem to go your way even when they shouldn't. And so we were happy to keep the streak alive and to send them home angry, I guess.
As a player that's looking for an NCAA commitment going into a showcase weekend where there's going to be schools all over the place and you're going to be under the microscope anytime the Clippers are on the ice Friday and Saturday, is that any distraction for you as a guy that's probably looking for that commitment, or do you just focus on the team game and let all that stuff take care of itself?
I mean, you definitely notice it. You understand the situation and you understand the moment that you're in. But just play your game. Don't do something that you're not. Don't be the player that you're not. If you're a skilled forward, be a skilled forward. If you're a stay-at-home D, be a stay-at-home D. Just play your game. That's why the schools are there. They're there to see you showcase yourself. So, I mean, most importantly, we're going for the win ahead of anything else. So we're taking it game by game, and just stay in the moment. Don't focus with the people around you. I mean, I'm used to playing in the OJ. I'm used to 10 fans a night. So it's a big jump, but just staying in the moment is key in things like that.
Ben, you've already got your commitment to Harvard, but you know that the Harvard coaches are going to be there. So do you have any conversations lined up? Because obviously they're going to be there to watch you and see where your development is going.
Right, yeah, I think that's a big part of it for me, just kind of to prove to them that, I've made jumps from last year and I'm going to continue to grow. I'm sure I'll be in contact with them after the games and, get their opinion on how the game went. And where they see my development moving forward, but I'm definitely excited for the weekend. Definitely excited to see them again and kind of prove to them that I'm definitely getting better and will continue to get better. So,
Ben Solin, Jake Harris, and we are going to play World Cup of Hockey trivia. I've got to flick my screen so I can get the questions going. This is hockey. It's hockey country, so we're going to have 7 questions. Kind of a best of 7 style. We've got some overtime questions if we need to. You each have a bell in front of you. Can you guys just ring that bell, make sure they're working? There we go. So we've got Jake and Ben, World Cup of Hockey trivia. And as soon as you know the answer, just ring in. And then when I call on you, give me the answer and we'll have some steal possibilities for these questions as well. Here we go. How many different countries are represented on Team Europe in the World Cup of Hockey? How many different countries are a part of Team Europe? You guys are both thinking.
Is there an over-under on this one? Or
you're either right or wrong, but you can't lose points.
all right, I'll go for it.
Ben Solin.
7.
7 is incorrect. Jake Harris for the steal.
I'll go 9.
It's 8. The guys are right around it. 0-0, Harris and Solin. This one I think you guys will both know, so get ready on your bells here. Which player for Team North America has not yet played in the NHL? Jake Harris.
Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews is correct. I think, do we have a Leaf fan over here?
Of course, you have to be.
We have a Leaf fan. 1-0 for the Leaf fan, Jake Harris. This one, I even found this hard when I was coming up with this question. Name any 2 players on the roster of Team Czech Republic. Jake Harris.
Thomas Plekanec and Jakub Voracek.
Nicely done. Wow. Just on fire. 2-0 Harris. Solin needs to play some catch up here. As of the second period, when I actually came up with these questions, so you can't count anything that happened in the third period of today's game, which I know you guys were watching. Name me any one of the players that was tied for the tournament lead in points.
In the game that...
In the league. So in the tournament. Any one of those 3 players that were tied in the points lead heading in to today's game. Doesn't have to be from today's game. Any team. 3 players that were tied for the tournament points lead. Name me any one of those players.
Draisaitl?
Draisaitl is not correct. Solin for the steal.
Let's go Goudreau.
No. Crosby, Marchand, Zuccarello. Each had 3 points. Yeah. Wow. Each had 3 points. Again, that was as of the second period of today's game. Still 2-0 for Jake Harris. You have to give me both. Other than Carey Price. Who are the 2 other Team Canada goalies? Jake Harris.
Braden Holtby and Corey Crawford.
That is correct. Moving on. 3-0. It's a Harris show here. We're going Team USA here, Ben. I'm thinking you might be okay with this one.
I don't know if that'll help.
Which NHL team has the most players on Team USA? And you can't lose points. Well, you don't have any yet.
I think of a good answer here.
Both guys are deep in thought. This particular NHL team has 3 players on Team USA. Deep in thought, both. Ben he wants to say
I'm
something.
trying to think of the roster, but I can't even think of it.
You're drawing a blank. Oh, see that we got the big lights on here. I know.
It's not the Sharks.
It's a tough environment.
Chicago. Or maybe
I'm doing shot clock, so somebody buzz in on this one. Just throw a team out there. There's only 30 teams.
All right.
Ben
Let's go,
Solin.
Let's go the Rangers.
Rangers had 2. They were in second place, but not first. Jake Harris.
I'm not sure, but I'll go LA. I know they only have 1, I think.
LA is incorrect. It's the Washington Capitals, Oshie Carlson Niskanen.
Oh, that's right.
Moving on. This is the final question here. And mathematically, Ben Solin, you have no chance. So you got to try and at least get on the board with this one here. Who played in the 2014 Olympic gold medal game? Which 2 teams? 2014 Olympic. Jake Harris.
It was Canada and Sweden.
That is correct. With Team Canada winning 3-0. It's a Canadian shutout for Jake Harris. But Ben, you might have the last laugh because Jake, I'm about to hand out your prize, and you have to break this out here. It's our Rockstar prize pack.
Oh yeah.
Your Rockstar sunglasses and your Rockstar guitar.
It's an honor.
So you got to put that on right now. Strike a pose. I was trying to get something that was World Cup related, but when I saw that, I thought that's a pretty good look. It's kind of like an Elton John sunglasses look, I think, from the 70s. That's way before your time.
Those things are huge.
Those might be the biggest sunglasses known to man.
Do I get to keep them?
Yes, you do. This is yours.
Awesome.
Jake, you look a bit like a bumblebee with those sunglasses on, I'm not going to lie. And you can hear him ripping into his package, and he's got his very own green guitar. Jake Harris, a big winner on our World Cup of Hockey trivia, but Ben might get the last laugh because he's not wearing the sunglasses and he doesn't have his very own green guitar that might or might not make its way to the Clipper locker room. We're going to play hockey trivia, and Joe, give us the question, give us the answer, and tonight's winner of a pair of the Nanaimo Clipper tickets to any Clipper home game.
Okay, here's the question. Austin Roden has appeared in all 4 games for Nanaimo this season. How many goals has he given up? Is it 4, 6, or 8? And you kept hinting that he was stingy, and the answer is 4.
A measly 4.
Yes, and congratulations to Brian Fairbrother. He was the one who commented on our Facebook page first with the right answer.
Way to go, Brian. And Austin Roden has been certainly more than the Clippers would hope for. Came in relief on night 1. Didn't give up a goal in more than half a game. Only 2 and a 5-2 win over the Powell River Kings. His first shutout in the BC Hockey League last Friday against Alberni Valley, and a 3-2 win for Roden against the Surrey Eagles on Saturday. What a start for the Clippers rookie goaltender. And he's never lost in the BCHL, 3-0 this year, and he won his only game last year in emergency relief up in Merritt. So quite a streak for Austin Roden to start his BC Hockey League career. A fun game and some fun answers on World Cup of Hockey trivia. Jake Harris, who won trivia, and Ben Solin. We found out a bit more about them. Mike Vandekamp joined us off the top. On behalf of Jody, this is Dan Marshall. So long from Off the Ice.
You've been listening to Off the Ice, the Clippers Hockey Show. Join us again next Monday night at 7 on Nanaimo's Rock, 106.9 The Wolf.